The strat really was a process of 20 years of looking at these charts until finally there was a Fed day, and it was discernibly a good news. It was in 2010, and it was a big rate cut, right? And so what happened was that as soon as that news came out, the market popped up, then puked, and then gone to the highs, right? And I was like, why would it do that? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. The news is good. It should just go straight up, right? And so I figured out that it creates an order vacuum when you have that, because everybody's sitting there like ready. If it's good, I'm buying. If it's bad, I'm selling, right? So everybody goes, boom, hit the buy button. So when that happens, you create the order vacuum because it rips up. There's nothing back down there, especially back in those days, a lot less liquidity than there is today. So there's no orders down there. So anybody takes profits, there's nothing there. And it goes flying back through. And so when you have that continuity level that we talk about, where the price was when the news came out, anybody who held off said, ooh, going down on good news, I'm going to short this thing, bam, right? They wail on it. And then anybody covers or starts to buy, now that order vacuum's twice as big, right? It's the upside and the downside, and comes ripping back. So I figured that part out, and then I looked at it and I was like, that's a broadening formation. Every book I've ever had said this is a very rare megaphone pattern. And I was like, so I drew it, and then I started looking, when I started going back through all the charts like I do, I was like, this isn't everything. This is how it works. Everything's doing this. And so that's where I started to see the broadening formation series, or as I like to say, the outside bar phenomenon. What that means is it's not actually like a chart pattern. It's a phenomenon that both sides of ranges get taken out. And if you fail testing one side and they start going through, they're going to test the other side, right? It happens all day in every time frame. So I figured that part out. That was big, because then I could gauge my magnitude. If it starts coming back through, it's going to go test the other side of the range. That really helped. And then I started with inside bars when silver went to $50 an ounce, and it was just ripping, and AGQ was a triple, right? So this thing is moving 50, 80 bucks a day, up and down and up and down and ripping around. And I had a 1 minute chart up, and I could see the inside bar form and then just explode out of there, because it shouldn't do that. It's extremely volatile. So anytime it rests, it's going to explode either way out of there, right? It's one of the analogies I use is like when you spin a top, right? And it's going around real fast, but it looks like it's not moving at all until you touch it. And then boom, it goes bouncing off the walls, right? So I started to see the inside bar equilibriums through that. So that's how the strat started, with the inside bars and stuff like that. So then there was a period of low volatility, like we've seen, which sucks, right? And that's when time frame continuity had to come entering into it. And I was like, because you really needed that when you have a sluggish market. So that's how the three things came together. And then just coming up on 4 years on Christmas Eve is when the scenarios hit me. And that was just a one-day revelation. And I was at church and things started playing out. And I walked 5 miles to the office, and these scenarios kept playing in my head. And I got to the office and I pulled up all the charts, and I'm like, oh my God, it's even easier than I thought. I'm like, now we can get everything, right? And I came in, Christmas was on Sunday, and then the market was closed on Monday. And then I came in on Tuesday. I was like, you guys are going to love this. And I'm like, check this out. I'm like, this is what all the reversals look like. This is what all the continuations. Now we can get everything. And they were like, what is he talking about? I've been with this guy for years. And I'm like, he's never mentioned anything like this. And if you go to my YouTube, you can see the exact moment of the revelation, because you'll see a Friday video where I didn't talk about it at all. And then that next week it was like, this is a 2-2, this is a 2-2, this is a 2 going 3, this is a this, and now we can get everything. And ever since then, things really took off, because people like the clarity of the strat, because we don't have to guess anymore. It's like, we know, we just pull up the charts and like, this is what it is, right? And if anything, there's a challenge to understanding the combination of the continuity with the outside bar phenomenon. So if we go through the SPY, you'll see the SPY is technically red from where it opened on the month, but it's outside, right? And so there's certain things you'll hear me say. Once a three, always a three can't not be, which means once you're an outside bar, it can't be anything else. It has to stay that way, which means they tested highs and they tested the lows. And if they did it once, they might do it again. And oftentimes they do. And that's why it's called a broadening formation, because it broadens, it gets bigger, right? And that's why we like to look for those whoppers, right?